Welcome to another session with Miss C. Today we'll be looking at part 2 of Csec vocabulary words. I know that this lesson is not labeled Csec vocabulary words, but it's now labeled keywords used in an examination. I decided to change the name because these words not only come in CXC, like I said, they come in our daily assessments that our teachers give us, and by knowing the words, we'll be able to understand and in effect be able to respond correctly. So let's take a look at the words for today. The first word is describe. If I ask you to describe yourself, a lot of you might say, oh, I'm fabulous, I'm beautiful, I'm pretty. If you're a guy, you might say, I'm guapo, right? So what are you doing when you do this? You're providing what? Characteristics about yourself. Similarly, if this term comes in an examination, they're asking you to provide characteristics. Let's take a look at the meaning. It says, provide a detailed account, give characteristics and main features. Keyword is characteristics. To further understand, we'll look at an example. Here's an example from the book Tijan and His Brothers that you read last year. If they ask you, describe the brothers in Tijan and his brothers, what are they asking you for? Characteristics of the brothers, right? So you might say something like, Tijan was a clever character, while Grosjean was the character that was very muscular but lacked brains. Mijan was a person that learned a lot from books but lacked maybe experience. So you can provide the description of whatever they're giving you depending on the question. In this case, they're asking you a description of characters, right? The other word is illustrate. Illustrate. What are they asking you when they say illustrate something? They're asking you to provide examples. So in this meaning, it says give concrete examples including figures or diagrams. Illustrate is usually added to another instruction. So besides the word illustrate, it might say illustrate and something else, right? But the key word here is example. So you're providing examples when they ask you to illustrate because you're creating some form of image in whoever's gonna look at your answer. Here's an example. It says, identify the character traits that can be seen in Scout from the beginning of the novel to this point. Illustrate each of the character traits you have identified. So if you notice, this is a two-part question. Identify, which is like we said in our last lesson, to point out, and illustrate then means give examples. So you would say something like, Scout from the novel To Kill a Mockingbird is tomboyish. She has masculine traits. Give an example. For example, you would say, because they're asking you to illustrate, for example, she likes to associate a lot with boys and play games that require her to use trousers rather than a skirt, right? So you can provide as many examples as possible because that is what it means to illustrate. Our third word is list. Very easy. If you go to the shop and your mom gives you a list, she has put this in some form of bullet point, right? So this is exactly what it means when they ask you to list something. Itemize the requested information. Details are not required. So you're not providing the extra detail and explanation. You're only itemizing, right? Putting in a list, like it says. The word says list means put in order. Short answer. No need to explain. Here's an example. The question says list the elements of prose. Are they asking you to explain the elements of prose? Not really. Are they asking you to illustrate? So you don't need examples, right? In this case, they're asking you to list. So you say the elements of prose are and you mention the elements of prose. You will say something like setting, character, plot, and you continue down the line, right? No explanation, no need to explain what plot is, you just need to put the name there. The other word is outline. I chose this little jiffy that shows people like a hand outlining using chalk, right? That's not what they mean when they say outline in a test, right? What do they mean? They mean give an overview of a subject in an organized way without going into too much detail. The key word here is overview. It's sort of like summarizing, right? But in this case, you are giving it in an organized manner, step by step. Let's take a look at the example to better understand outline. The example says, briefly outline what happens in the poem A Stone Throw. So if they're asking you to outline, they're asking you to give some form of organized pointers, right? So you'll start, in this case, since it's the poem A Stone Throw, they'll say you would mention something like the poem starts with a woman that a group of people are trying to stone. There's a man that comes and changes that, and at the end the people walk away with a few stones. I just outlined it quickly, right? That's what it means to outline. Here is another word. The word is state. It's very easy. State means to provide a short, concise answer without explanation. Sounds like identify, right? Identify means to pick out. State doesn't require you to go into the passage and take out. In this case, state just means provide your response in short. Keyword here is concise. No need to discuss too many details, but you do need to reply in a complete sentence. Here's an example. If they tell you state 2 factors that affect students' test scores, you don't need to explain what affects students' scores. You just need to quickly, briefly mention them. For example, you would say something like, one of the factors that affect students' scores is lack of sleep. Another one is lack of studying. Very short, brief, and to the point. That's what it means to state. So we've reached to the end of the vocabulary list, and right now we're going to do a mental check-in. That means I need you to pause the video so that you review on your own, and then you continue viewing this video because we're going to review all the words, not only the words that we just mentioned, but the ones from the previous lesson. Are you ready? Here it goes. The first word is compare. What does it mean? Yes, it means identify similarities. The word compare and contrast. What comes to mind? Similarities and differences, right? When you hear the word contrast, what comes to mind? The differences. Comment. Provide a personal opinion. Yes. Explain. Answer the question. Why, how, what. Discuss. Provide both pros and cons before providing your own opinion. Identify. To pick out. To identify means to select without explanation. Summarize. Write in short, identifying main ideas and using your own words. Describe. Provide characteristics. Illustrate. Use examples. List. Put. Itemize is the word, sorry. Outline. Give a brief overview in an organized manner. State. Write in short, Concise answer, no need for explanation. Great job. If you feel like you need a little bit more explanation, like I told you, please message me so that we can have a chat. Or if you want to have me explain via another video, I can do so. Bye guys, have a great day.